my dad's old truck engine. An old microphone in a crowded burrito shop, a shaking voice reading a poem for the very first time. My boyfriend's laugh after my cat literally bites his face. The sound of love in the face of pain. The sound of love in the presence of evil. Over too many years for our human minds to count, a river caresses a mountain until it becomes a canyon. Into nothing. A cavern of itself. I know you love someone like this. Do you love yourself like this? The sound of two toddlers being very surprised at the exact same time. The sound of soft indie music at the best coffee shop in town. The hum of silence at the end of construction season. Old friends chatting after a long, long while. 1,000 voices chanting outside Congress, the sound of suffragettes, of civil rights activists singing and singing, the voices of everyone on earth saying I love you at the exact same time. Did you know that the Big Bang wasn't a gunshot, but a vibration of love? And love is messy, love is everywhere at once, love changes everything. I sit cross-legged in a dark room and try not to talk to myself. Meditation is not just the quieting of the mind, but the act of sitting in the noise and not trying to shut it up. Did you know that your ache, your too sharp tongue, your white hot passion, your soft, soft heart all come from the same place? The sound of your breath, the sound of your heartbeat, heartbeats, heartbeat. Did you know the whole universe shakes into existence at the tip of your tongue? You can spit yourself out of your mouth or breathe in deeply and sing yourself out. Welcome, everyone. This is a poetry slam. Woo! This is the official Northern Slam. Fancy, fancy. The Poetry Slam is a competition that was invented in the 1980s in Chicago, Illinois, in which performed poetry is judged by 5 members of the audience. My name is Fitz. I will be your MC for the evening. Poets will have a limited amount of time to perform their work. Their poems must be between 60 seconds and 3 minutes and 10 seconds. It's very technical. We are very serious here. If there's anything that you take away from this night, is that poetry is very serious. No, it's not. Good, yeah, laughing's good, snapping's good, all of those things. Yeah, good, yeah, we'll practice some more in a second. I can tell you need some warming up. You all had to work today. It's a long day, you went to school. Hard stuff. Anyway, after the poet performs, the judges, right here, who I'll introduce you to in a moment, will then score that piece anywhere from a 0 to a 10, evaluating such qualities as performance, content, and originality, which all have numerical values now. We will drop the high and low scores of each performance and add the middle 3 scores, giving the poet a final score out of 30. Lots of the technical stuff. Are we all on board? Y'all understand what is happening? All right. Important. Points are deducted for violating the 3-minute time limit. Technically 3 minutes and 10 seconds. We give them a 10-second grace period. Points are also deducted by violating the 60-second minimum time limit. So 2 different ways you can get time penalties. If anyone gets a time penalty this evening, I will shout out something like, "We have a time penalty," and everyone together will say, "Forget linear time." So we're gonna practice that. We have a time penalty. Forget linear time. Great work. Now you're all like, what time is it? I don't know, I forgot already, jeez. All right, poets, I highly recommend you check your egos at the door. Ego checking is a free service that we offer here at the Northern Slam. $0 to not be a jerk. Yeah, cheer for your friends. Cheer louder for your enemies. Cheer a medium amount for your frenemies. Got it? Awesome. Any other important things? No. All right. Are y'all ready for a poetry slam? No, you are not ready for a poetry slam. First, we must calibrate the area. We must calibrate the stage. We must calibrate this microphone. We must calibrate the judges and their judginess. And we must calibrate you, audience, and your empathy cheer-matrons, which are a device that I inserted into your hearts with my brain powers as you were all walking in. I am a very powerful robot. So a poet is going to come up and perform a poem as if they were competing, but they are not. The judges will score that poem as if they were competing, but they are not. I highly recommend you use this time to turn on your listening ears, turn off your cell phones, turn on your snappy snaps and your cheers. Has anyone in here ever been to a Baptist church? One person. Okay, this is like that, but for poetry. You can say amen, you can yell and scream and cheer and snap. All of that is appropriate. Okay, so on deck will be a poetry slam. Coming up right now, let's have all the way to the mic our calibrating poet for the evening, Seth Marlin!
Truth Bomb, a study in 5 parts. 1. Anaconda, 2007, the end of a pre-dawn run. During our final stretches, a sound of explosions. The culprit, a Nissan truck packed with 155s driven into the northwest gate and detonated. The count is 5 soldiers dead, Kentucky National Guard. They'd been in country for a month. The truth, his name was Sadiq. He was 17. Father and younger brother killed by a coalition airstrike. His blood price, a year's wages made payable to his mother upon death. The talk of martyrdom all meaningless against the promise of being able to see little Nasser again. To be able to hold him, to see him smile, to say to him with pride, I avenged you. 2. Gaza City, 2014. Office workers huddle under desks, hold hands, whisper prayers in Arabic up to God. A 2,000-pound JDAM reduces them all to mist because this is the God we worship. Prayer goes up, hell comes down. The truth, his name was Gilad. He is 19, part of an ordnance crew with an IDF attack squadron, like so many young Jewish boys eager to say, I am a man and a patriot, but not understanding what either of those words mean, never bothering to ask what addresses his signed munitions reach. 3. Oklahoma City, 1995. A truck bomb set off on a Wednesday morning. The blast felt for miles, touching off car alarms and high-strung dogs. An axle lying twisted a mile from the explosion. The count is 168 dead. 19 are children. The truth, his name was Timothy. He was 27. A tanker in the Gulf, he came home to riots in LA, compounds burning in Texas. He saw us all going mad and blamed race, blamed feminism, blamed everything but the machine that rolled over him. He had to know there were babies inside that building, but he could not see, his vision still clouded by the smoke of burning oil fields. 4. Bombay, 2015. An 8-year-old girl lying in a hospital bed. The culprit, a 40-year-old landmine, what GIs once called a bouncing Betty. The cost, her left leg to the knee, her right leg to the hip, and any life that didn't involve begging by the side of the road. The truth, his name is An. He is now 58. A boy in 75, he helped bury thousands of mines for the Khmer Rouge. Now he lives alone, teaches high school math. He is able to forget the things that he has done, except on the nights that the news reminds him. 5. This microphone, right here, right now. The idea that blood can pay for blood, that with enough bang, enough boom, enough shock and awe, we can put the wrongs of the world right again. We tell ourselves that this is called courage, tell ourselves that this is called sacrifice. The truth, that what obscures the eyes in a war is not called a fog. It is not a fog. It is dust and rubble and ruin. Hope goes up, hell comes down.
Now are you ready for a poetry slam? That's more like it. All right. On deck is Janessa Sexton. Coming up all the way to the mic right now, let's have Corey Roots.
A page, blank, empty,
full of room and space to be used at someone else's disposal, like a canvas predisposed to receive creativity spilled onto its nothingness. A piece of paper, in a way, is much like the universe we live in, the space we call home. There's lots of nothing in our universe, but just enough something to let creativity flow and flourish freely. The lines of the paper, essential to the neatness and organization, but taken for granted, always perceived as a given. They're like the laws of physics, holding all of this space together for another being's pleasure. The longer the creativity roams, the more full the emptiness gets. All of this room must end at some point, however. Could you obliterate the whole piece and start anew? What if one were to decide if this creativity takes up too much room and makes our space ugly and unwanted? The creativity undeniably takes up room, making this once plain and pure space ugly and tainted, no matter how beautiful the creativity is. This page, this poor page, now abused and violated by this so-called creativity, riddled with the words that I wanted to say, the language that I wanted it to have, littered with the words that are not its own without consent, raped of its pure and true blankness, much like this universe. Maybe I have made a mistake here today. Here I have plagued this gentle piece of paper with my ideas, ruining its beautiful, perfect simpleness. For this sin of disrespect I have committed, I am so sorry. I will forever take greater care to preserve the beauty of the next piece by leaving it pure and blank just the way it is. My acts of art today are despicable. This page that I have here and now will forever be tainted with my misunderstanding. I will not hurt you anymore. I will save what is left and return the stillness and peace. I will put my creativity behind these bars of bone and bid you, fair page, goodbye.
Thank you, Corey. Judges are calibrating their feelings. They're feeling their feelings. They're turning those feelings into a numerical value. Math team, how's it going? Is that for this poet or the previous poet? 26.7 for the sacrificial poet, 26.7 for our calibrating poet. And now, final score for the poet that just performed, we have a 23.8. Clap for that poet. On deck is Rin Koliber. Coming up all the way to the mic right now, let's have Janessa Sexton.
Today, I saw your eyes, and looking back at me were miles of memories from a time when we drank juice boxes in the lunchroom and drew flowers on our desks. Looking back at me was the warmth from 100 sleepovers. Looking back at me was the pain of the heartbreak we helped each other through, from rooftop conversation to walks on the playground. In your eyes, I see the promising hope of a life long ago. I see the homework we did together, even though neither of us knew how to do it. I see our plans displayed on a chalkboard because we were sure we would carry them out. But as I look at you and you look at me, I see an awkward imbalance. Because even though I see our happy memory, I fail, since I cannot look past the disgusting passage of sadness, the deep disconnection you bring to me with the sense of shame and sorrow. What once was a joyful friendship slowly embraced cold and turned its back on me. In your eyes, I look upon the days when you started to drift away. Instead of juice boxes, you drank energy drinks. Instead of flowers, you drew yourself a galaxy. You began the strew of dark clothing and different hair. I became lost in myself and grew terribly afraid of you. In your eyes, along the faint and yellow longing for that friend from so long ago, I see an ever-growing emptiness. I look into your eyes and feel that friend reaching out to me, maybe in a time of need or despair. But even though I see she is still in there, I know, because I look into your eyes filled with a blank canvas of helplessness that she is long gone.
Coming up all the way to the mic right now, let's give it up for Rin Koliber!
Careful, I'm a concept of hand-me-downs, of paying attention to all the wrong times. Careful, I'm too out of tune to be in sync with what I thought might have been my shot at being something. Maybe someone just worthy enough of a special mention, a side note, and all those selflessly selfish, silent interventions that could have caused something great, but were instead misunderstood as something suddenly not worthy of mentioning. Some days I will get lost in thoughts of completion, of competition, of those moments missed because I couldn't. No, I wouldn't step up to the plate and just swing. Honestly, it's all just amidst the incomprehensible. Careful, I've locked my mom's keys in her car. Careful, I will always have more than a few particular scars. Careful, I've started something toxic between two incredibly distinct individuals in my life and ended that very thought twice as many times only for it to start up again. Careful, I've never believed in destined fate, but that idea of coincidental intentions can only explain so much when I was so careful. Complications couldn't so much as care to create a big enough catch to get me to realize what it might be too late to think to capture stop. And be more careful, the reverse can't stop running its course. My conviction only coasts the surface of my self-assigned transparency. I will carry conversations of corrupted collateral. At my own contaminated composure, I will cringe before I cower at a constant, be consistent without conforming to concede with my own fears, because I know I can't coexist with myself when all I want is to build castles in the sand with someone, but just can't manage to get myself completely caught as collateral. I am more than careful, but I'm still scared of my own self-centered consumption, so please, no more unconscious evokings of all those delicately careless interpretations, because I can't get any more careful.
5.8 for the poet. On deck is Naomi Hertz, coming up all the way to the mic right now. Let's give it up for Christian basketball.
The title of my poem is Technology. Technology, it has come a long way, especially video games. From Mario to Rainbow Six Siege, a little man in a red suit running across the screen, to now little kids shooting bullets out of full magazines. Back when my dad was a kid, he played with little figurines, and the people we call figurines are animated on 70-inch screens. Let's take a trip back to the past. Kids would play outside and have a blast. They would run, and run all day. Instead of being inside all alone with their parents instead, kids would play in the dead of night and not have to worry about a Twitter fight. But our modern age kids stay inside just to play their video games. They invite kids to a party, but not the birthday kind. Children will ignore their responsibilities just to get a win on Call of Duty. Now, what about the types of video games? And I don't mean like racing, role play, or adventure. I mean classic versus new. Trying to compare these is like trying to go down whitewater rapids in a canoe. It's a little difficult. Taking a look at Mario, it was an 8-bit classic that everyone loved. You would beat levels, grab coins, and most of all, save Princess Peach. It was joyful. You had to be strategic. It made you think. It was not as easy as swimming in a lake. Now, not dissing Fortnite, but it gives you options to make the game easier. Builder Pro and aim assist. Putting these options on can make the game a breeze. With this advance into our modern age, technology has taken away so many things. We no longer have to take a road trip to visit grandma or grandpa. You just have to unlock your phone and type on a screen keyboard. We no longer have to go to the stadium to see a game. We can sit at home and watch on an LCD instead. Technology isn't a bad thing. It's just removing things people used to do as a family. So slow down on advancing our tech. Let's live a little. Instead of watching something on a screen, get out there, play a sport, ride a bike, play with other kids. Stop trying to make online friends. Those aren't real. Meet someone face to face. Have a better connection with the human race.
The Friends of the Deer Park Library are the sponsors of the Northern Slam. They buy the poets their t-shirts and provide them the cash for prizes. There will be friends in the audience. Maybe have them wave. Wave, friends. Friends. Thank you, friends. Appreciate you. All right, what does that make the poet's final score? We have a 23.8 for the poet. On deck is Peyton Green. Please welcome up all the way to the mic right now. Let's have Naomi Hertz.
My poem's entitled Songbirds. We are the songbirds of this world. We all have our own unique songs, sweet and rich like honey, just like gold, worth so much. And so, just like songbirds, our beauty is hated, our presence is despised, and our necks are snapped. The deafening crack. And it's as if the world stops and mourns for the loss of a beautiful songbird. Our society says we're all accepted, but that is only a mask for the lies. We are accepted by being shoved to the ground, beaten for our thoughts, our hopes, our dreams, told we can't accomplish it, that we should disappear. But I say to you, world, that I will not sit and be beaten down. I will sing till my last breath for what I believe and for my dreams. You have already taken enough lives, and I will not sit back and watch anymore. You wear so many mimicking masks, so many lies. The line between truth and deceit blur. No more. This is truly a never-ending war. So many lost songbirds, so many unknown songs. No more. So let us live and sing our songs. Fly with me, end this massacre of beauty, of lives. Let this war end. Let the songbirds live. Let them sing their beautiful songs till old age takes them away.
Thank you, Naomi. Judges. Math team, what does that make our poet's final score? We have a 25.4 for the poet. On deck is Macy Allen. Please welcome up all the way to the mic right now. Let's have Peyton Green.
Hi, my name is Peyton Green, and my poem is titled To Whom It May Concern. I am here to inform you that I have retired from SAD. I have retired from my old life, and I have retired from being me. My midlife crisis has taken me into business, an address book burned and life forgotten. Finance or HR, which branch is not important, but the 9 to 5 is. The routine, the steadiness. I have retired from SAD, and now I carpool. I spend my time making casual conversations. Coworkers tell me of their day, and I ignore the cucumber rain. Every drop is free, but for once I am not envious, for I have found freedom too restrictive, and my routine has saved me. I have retired from SAD, and now I listen to stories. I become the king of break room babble. The woman in the cubicle across from me tells me of a young lover. She says she lost herself when she lost him. She shows me a loved photo of him, worn, cracked at the edges. We are strangers. I do not remember her name, how old she is, but I do remember her pain. Corporate said we are not allowed to hang anything in our cubicles, but she is bold and she does not care, for she still has him hung up. I have retired from SAD, and now I go to happy hours. They stretch into months. I hold back the woman's hair as she vomits on the side of the road, and she thanks me in between retches. I watch my superior slurring his words to an uninterested woman. He is playing a losing game, but still I admire his ignorance. I find solace outside the curb and associate, and we sit, sober and solemn, for we have been tasked with getting these humans home safely. The moon's judgmental glare is like a CEO looking down on his employees, and for a moment, I ache. But the woman has fallen asleep in a pool of vodka and vomit, and my superior has been rejected, so it is my time to leave. My go-to party trick, some tie cherry knots, others are double jointed, but my trick is leaving. I sell my socks and I leave my bonds behind, because once it gets too hard to deal with, once my lungs ache from holding you, I run. Because I can say I have retired from SAD, but I can't retire from missing you. Best wishes. Thank you.
4. We have a 26.3. 26.8 for the poet. On deck is Kiara Hively. Coming up all the way to the mic right now, let's welcome Macy Allen.
Do you remember when we were 11? Let's go back to that. I'll throw flowers into the sky and you can try to catch them. When the leaves fall, we can make piles and jump into them. When the snow comes sweeping through the land, frozen tears of angels, we can build a snowman, give him a smile. Because when the snow thaws, I am 12, and you are dead. Do you remember when we were 10 and we didn't care about anything? I would sing off-key and you would dance along. Through the years, you would have become the best dancer and I would have become famous for my songs. But now you're gone and I can't speak. The times have changed and I dance instead, without rhythm, without grace, without you. Do you remember when we were 9? I have trouble thinking back that far, but I think that was the year we decided to live in the woods, all alone. Now, my thoughts are an endless forest, and I am alone. But this time, I won't survive. When we were younger, we were afraid of fire, but now my anger burns, brighter than any sun. I'm still afraid, but for different reasons. Do you remember when we were 11 and we could travel through our memories as easily as we could think? Now I can't do either. One of us has to remember, and I wish it wasn't me. One of us should survive, and I wish it wasn't me. It's hard to let go, but like a rope, the memory burns my hands, and the longer I cling to it, the worse it hurts, but I can't let go. I can't lose you. I can't forget. So take my hand and teach me to dance like we did when we were so young, so carefree. Leap off a cliff and hope the air will catch us. And if it doesn't, that's okay, because you're an angel and you can fly. And I'll fall, but then I'll be with you again, and we'll be okay.
I should be wearing socks so I can slide, right? 2 people like having fun in here. Got it. Math team, final score for the poet is a 23.9. 23.9. On deck is Marky Vanderhoof, but coming up all the way to the mic right now, let's have Kiara Hively!
Petal drops down the flower. I look up and I see you. No. I see you. Your face a burned and torn storybook. I used to know every word. Poison drips down your lips. The petal fell down the rose and dropped to the floor. Once upon a time, there was a girl. She poured herself into a mold, shaping to be exactly what you wanted because that's what she thought she had to do to be loved. The petal fell to the floor. Your love was gasoline in her water, toxic and invasive, changing her characteristics, stealing her hope. I look up and I see you. No, I see you, flashing between now and the past, smiles and ash. The petal falls to the floor, rotting stem dead, and you have the audacity to ask for her back. After she's left, she looks down and softly tells you no. The storybook opens back up to the page where the prince saves the girl. Don't you remember? You're my prize. Your filthy mouth speaks. The petal drops to the floor of the castle, the last one on a wilted flower. I'm not your anything. She spits, but doesn't yet walk away. Pinned by the notion of a child to stay, or perhaps the idea that love won't fade to gray. I've watched the story unfold time and time again through the life of a mother, a friend, a sister, an aunt, and though it isn't healthy, all water can see is the rainbow lying above. The last petal falls to the floor. You grab her face and tell her, be mine. Commanding and demanding. She smacks your hand away. She turns and walks, the petals slowly crumbling beneath her feet. The last one reads, he loves me not. And over her shoulder, she whispers a hushed goodbye.
Math team, what does that make the poet's final score? A 25.9. On deck is Aaron Simon, but please welcome up all the way to the mic right now, Marky Vanderhoof!
Look, I didn't mean to kill her. There's no reason to keep these cuffs on me. It's not like I'll be able to strangle the person I was 3 hours ago. It doesn't work like that, officer. Sure, I'll tell you all about it. After all, you have the key to these cuffs, and to the vampire's tea I'm just dying to spill. Too soon? Well, the death of a former identity isn't something you can arrest me for, no matter how ghastly the scene. That would imply that the metaphysical is a tangible entity, does it not? She was a jumbled mess of curses and blessings. Her best quality was creativity, yet she lacked the spine to push aside her emotional instability so that she could overcome her insecurities. It appears she became self-aware and annihilated the self she used to be. Spilling the blood of the psyche doesn't count as bloodshed, officer. The tormented mind, as its subsistence is eroded by constant conscious resistance, manifests its loss in what appears to be a crime scene. A slaved corpse, deprived of its vitality, the decayed force implied to be morality, enough crimson to repaint 4 bedroom walls, and enough despair to be considered a secondary cause of fatality. The motive? The murder weapon? You'll never be able to find them lest you look within yourself. Many things can be discovered by searching your soul for answers. Living as someone whose reflection you can't stand to see is enough to drive anyone insane with misery. Do you see it now? 'Twas intense introspection that severed her soul from its earthly tether. The wounds caused by such an action bleed cognizance until the impact of reality floods your system and fractures your identity. Wait a minute. Sit down with those stainless steel friendship bracelets. Don't get ahead of yourself, officer. This isn't a confession. Intelligence does not the murderess make. Knowledge of the other world is not to be considered a concession. Coincidence is not justification to burn me at the stake. The shock of reality split her spirit, her psyche, and emotions into separate pieces. Her very soul lies scattered within the chrysalis that is the crime scene. I know because her and I are two sides of the same coin. I delved too far into myself as I tried to fix my flaws, and they retaliated against me, throwing my soul, cradled in crimson and shattered in shards, onto the floor. Officer, I gotta be straight with you here. I chose this fate. You can't metamorphosize into the person you desire to be without dissolving yourself into sentient slime within a cocoon of your vices. Only you can give yourself wings of untethered potential to soar. But the solution to this situation is simplistic. All I need to do is meditate till her wayward spirit, her fractured psyche, and her emotions coalesce and still the crimson chaos swirling in a sea of gloom to mend her soul and bring her peace. Since death is the beginning of new life, not the end, it is possible to release her from her cryogenesis and strife. I must open my third eye, gaze into the cosmos, and let the energy of all things otherworldly become the glue that restores me back to the self I love. 'Tis hard to find a way to resurrect and merge soul with body, but I have no regrets. After all this, I think I'm free to go. Wouldn't you say, officer?
So what does that make the poet's final score? We have a 27.1 for the poet. On deck is Maddie Onito, but coming up all the way to the mic right now, let's welcome up Aaron Simon!
Okay, my poem is called My Ocean. Imagine this, you're standing on the beach of the California Ocean. You're looking out over the blue metallic, just waviness, and you just see the golden rays come through the cloud over the horizon. You look down at the ocean to remember this moment forever when you see a small turtle. You wave hello and goodbye, and the turtle turns to you, and this is what he says. Hello, my name is Ricardo the Turtle. I have been swimming by myself for 1.5 years now. I lost my family to an old fishing net. Because you see, this turtle was later found dead in the night. He was choked out by an old Bud Light. You see, a trashy ocean isn't something we do. A trashy ocean is something we choose. 1,000 years ago, it wasn't tragic. 1,000 years ago, they weren't swimming in plastic. It may not be an opinion to ruin the world's oceans, but it may not be an opinion to leave them hearts broken. When I refer to them, I talk about the animals. When I refer to them, I talk about us mammals. You see, we are ruining their lives. We need to open up our eyes because they need to reconsider and they need a reciter. They require the ocean for life. They require the ocean but still end up in strife. Never more should we hurt the ocean. Never more should we girt the debris, because without the ocean, they are nothing. And without the land, we are in the same situation as they are, drowning in our own dreck. Each year, we produce 253 million tons of waste. Each year, 10% of that ends up leaving the earth defaced. Choking on plastic isn't a way to go. Choking on plastic is something we should woe, from turtles with elastic stuck in its throat to turtles who were left afloat. Animals were harmed in the plenty. Animals were harmed like the blenny, from straw stuck in noses to whales wrapped in hoses, turtles stuck in nets, turtles who left to bet their lives on us foolish humans as we dump filth in the ocean. We need to step up our game, because if you want to get in the fame, we should clean up after ourselves. We should help save our continental shelf. How would you like to choke on rubbish? How would you like that to be published? Plastic may be easy and plastic may be cheap, but plastic makes them weep. It may be cheaper than metal, but at least it doesn't leave them unsettled. Help clean our oceans and help keep this world in a good motion. So we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, should shape up. We should shape up to the point where there are no more problems with plastic or offal in our oceans. So I can leave this world knowing happily that my kids and your kids and every other generation can enjoy the greatness of our largest body of water. And so as John F. Kennedy once said, we are tied to the ocean, and when we go back to the sea, whether to sail or to watch, we come back from whence we came. So I leave you with this. Please stop using so much plastic. Get a reusable water bottle, use reusable grocery bags, buy boxes, not bottles, metal forks, and not cheap plastic. It's not hard, so please recycle.
Poet's final score, 24.1 for the poet. On deck is Tara Tolliver, but please welcome up all the way to the mic right now, Maddie Onito!
Like that way too early morning smell, when light leaks through the curtains and in a swell of golden rays hits the coffee pot just so, making the counter glow with amber. Like the worn leather seats of a grandfather's car, beautiful in their flawed state, having come so far, with so many incredible feats worn into the creases of the backrest. Like the way winter feels when you're curled up on the couch by your favorite window as snow falls in glittering flurries. With a slouch in your spine and a smile on your lips, you nurse a scorching cup of hot cocoa complete with a stick of cinnamon. Like the way it smells outside after a heavy downpour, the earthy floor warm and soft under the fall of small rubber boots all running off to play in the puddles. Like the way the worn bricks of an old fireplace are warm to the touch, but never enough to hurt, just enough to offer a sense of comfort. Like the way the flames blaze with hues of red and orange that implore you to lose yourself in their stunning colors which are so deeply hidden there. Like the delight of finding a penny, head side facing up and wondering if there's any luck in your future. Like that little spark of joy you get when your lucky penny actually seems to do what lucky pennies do. Like the sweet sound that pours from a violin's quivering strings, rich music flowing from the warm wood that brings it to life. Like the strife that comes with knowing what the music means as it runs off the strings and a pretty woman sings about the man that left her behind. Like all the little things that make the world seem better. Like an entire chocolate bar on a sad day in the rain, or bad finger picking on old guitar strings. Like the cover of a book cracked with time, with beautiful stories all scribbled inside that pull at your heartstrings and tug at your soul, that break you apart and yet make you feel whole. Like a warm smile from a friend. Like times you wish would never end. Like ivory piano keys set in their deep mahogany grave, played by soft fingers and a broken heart. Like golden fields of dried grass, like windows made of stained glass, like memories that are made to last. These are the things that hide in your eyes. These are the things that remind me of you.
Poet's final score, a 27.0. On deck is Amy Barber, but please welcome up all the way to the mic right now, Tara Tolliver!
This is my poem, Life. I have been told that life is confusing, that I need to be bold, but conservative. I have been told that everybody loves me, that I have a home. By definition, home is a place where somebody lives, but we all know it's a place of warmth, safety, and love. I have no home. Yes, by definition, but not by heart. I have a house where the floors are made of eggshells and nobody can be trusted. The screaming and yelling I hear late at night, crying, wondering what happened this time. A home is filled with love. There is none, except for some that to come up with the right way, they had to experiment. But they didn't try to go back and fix their disaster, their mess watches, as they laugh, hug, love. Instead, they wait until the clock almost strikes when they say, "We are innocent, you were the guinea pig, it hurts." The way we were raised, picking up Dad's cigarette butts, beer cans, and Fireball bottles, carrying him to bed as we took care of the house, cooked and cleaned for our parents because they were tired and we were hungry. I gave up dreams and sports to take care of them. I missed the music and dance, but they didn't care. didn't care for our feelings, our mental health, much like people we are surrounded by, shoving everything down our throats when I can't even swallow, thoughts running rampant in my head every morning in bed. I'm not good enough, I'm worthless, not pretty enough, not smart enough. Stop! It's too much. And if it continues, I'll have to take a break from this confusing thing called life.
Math team, what does that make the poet's final score? We have a 25.0 for the poet. Okay, I think that's right. Okay. On deck is Kai Hansen, but please welcome up all the way to the mic right now, Amy Barber.
So this is called Keeping Up with the 99%. Lights, camera, action. In the reality show of my life, I am the star. However, I do not realize I idealize people's stories in which I'm not even a supporting character. In the gladiator arena of life, it's either fight for the spotlight or stay in the shadows. And even though it's a fight or flight reaction, many will lose and few will win. The 1% of winners will rise to fame and glory, while the other 99 will host their own perceptions of the truth, where they can't see their neighbor's deceptions, where all the lies can't cover the cries coming from the house on the corner where the newlywed couple is hosting an orphan, a 2-week-old baby who's already had a hard life. For each waking day will be filled with strife. He was born with an addiction that caused an affliction he never wanted. Hidden problems are their own deceptions. And more are being created in apartment 2B, where the windows are shuttered so no one can see the monstrosities that manifest in the illegalities being demonstrated by the grown children who can only commit to adultery. This broken relationship is forcing the unknowing partner to want to barter for love and attention, yearning for the ungiven affection from the prevarication they've grown used to. Hidden problems are their own deceptions. PTSD isn't only for the military and definitely not for the weak. From accidents to steel doors slamming, there's nothing about it that gets you jamming, and even the most unexpected can be affected, like that girl who can't stand the thought of being a passenger for the loss of control. She can't keep it in and needs something to hold. Hidden problems are their own deceptions. So across the board, there's a horde of problems, but our attitude should be focused on gratitude. And that's why in my twisted reality show, where no one curtsies or bows, I'm the star, whose problems are superficially enigmatic, when in reality, their existence, purely elementary.
Math team, what does that make the poet's final score? We have a 26.4 for the poet. On deck is Raina Ashley, but please welcome up all the way to the mic right now, Kai Hansen!
The idea of you loving someone who isn't me, validating my abandonment issues into existence. Tangled legs, bed sheets, your head on my chest, beautiful heartbeats, completely in sync, one beat after the other, consistent. Consistency, something you so desperately need, so tell me why you would give that up. We're at a level playing field now, so let me pretend we're something slightly more than nothing for just a moment. I'm blatantly sacrificing the time I attempt to value on you, when in all actuality, it should be dedicated to someone who is not you entirely. I choose to do this because I still see something in what I would like to call us, yet you still hesitate to touch my skin as though covered in barbed wire, but chapped lips and glossy eyes say, please don't leave, when I'm simply getting a drink of water. Oddly enough, your own presence has dramatically influenced mine, so I've recently taken the time to contemplate the consequences of my actions before they manifest into a problem so far beyond me, I'm unable to attempt to correct it, something I didn't often do, but for whatever reason, I was really willing to change. I want your hand to weave together with mine, and it would be so intricate, it would be so beautiful. Your mind is amazing, your smile is contagious, your laugh constantly, painlessly, pleasantly breaks my heart, and your eyes. Your eyes are mesmerizing, completely worth the announcement of any ocean. Even my most confusing thoughts have order, but the moment that you enter my mind, the opinions and voices become so bipolar, I can almost hear the torn screams. I'm scared to be too distant for fear of the inevitable. I'm scared to be too close for fear of becoming far too emotionally attached, although it seems I already am. Let me be unapologetically honest, this is not what I signed up for while waiting to experience the feeling of caring about someone beyond the most intense recklessness. I now understand it's romanticized so much more than necessary. My experience is nothing more than dead roses and the smell of other girls' perfume on his jacket. The jacket that I borrowed, more or less stole for months, because it made me feel that it forced him to come back. That is, if he ever would have left. But he didn't. Instead, he kissed my lips while no one was looking and left painful reminders on my neck so no other soul could even consider speaking to me. He wrapped his arms around my waist and made this feel like a safe place, but we all prefer bitter lies, lovely truths over bitter lies, bitter truths. And the truth is, his arms are a trap and his smile is something I'll never get back because of past mistakes consuming my being, repetitively rotating, radiating reasons for my lack of self-worth. And I just want you to be happy. Experiencing incomprehensible amounts of pain is something I'm now used to. It's purely the price of loving you. It's something I'm willing to go through. It's not something visible, no. It's an emotional torment, but I'm willing to wait until you are willing to put in the time.
Y'all, we only have one more poet, and then I'm going to be really nice and give you an intermission. I'm such a gracious ruler. Only if, raise your right hand, repeat after me. I solemnly swear that I will stay for the second round, even if my kid is not in the second round. Teach your children sportsmanship. Okay, that was fun for me. Math team wasn't make the poet's final score. We have a 25.0. On deck is intermission. Coming up all the way to the mic right now, your last poet of round one, Raina Ashley!
May 23rd, 2014, a young man couldn't get a girlfriend, and having endured years of rejection was hurting. A story heard before with all the bells and whistles, a boy blind with rage toward the women who rejected him, who could see nothing else than the purpose of seeping in his own misery. A walking cliche, but the cliche took it a step further this time. His vision gray and cloudy, clouded with racism, sexism, narcissism, so many isms that his head was full and his heart was cold, and so on his day of retribution, May 23rd, 2014, Elliot Rogers killed 7 people. And that's not even the crazy part, as some people believe that this man did the right thing. There is a whole community laying at the bottom of the internet, wallowing in self-inflicted rejection, that see Elliot Rogers as a hero, a god, his manifesto, their scripture, his day of retribution, their Christmas, because they believe that they have been wronged. Wronged by the women who rejected them, wronged by society for valuing love, wronged by their parents for their bad genes, wronged by the men who've done better than them, wronged by everyone but themselves because they are alone. I think most of us can empathize with feeling lonely, feeling gut-wrenching rejection, the twisting of your insides when they don't love you back. All of us understand this, but nearly all of us don't want to kill people, so where did this go wrong? You know, most of the people who feel rejection move on from it. It stings and it burns like boiling water, but some way, somehow we move on. Some, however, sit themselves in the cold isolation of their parents' basements, talking amongst themselves on remote forums, bouncing ideas off of like-minded individuals, that is, other wronged men, freezing out the rest of the world, growing colder and angrier, packing in together, making a snowball, rolled in resentment. Desperation leads to loneliness, loneliness to sadness, to anger, to violent thoughts, to violent words, to violent action, to days of retribution, to angry mobs of entitled men, all fueled by toxic community, toxic toxicity, the cruel poison of group mentality, the deadly drug of unchecked entitlement, the disease that makes men like him kill women like me, that makes headlines like man kills girl at bar for turning down drinks. Because we allow this poison to fester and to bleed, spreading outside its corner of the internet, leaving the blood of the innocent on the floors of yoga studios and city streets. Because leaving danger unchecked, unchallenged, and allowing the entitlement of others to kill us, creating April 23rd, 2018 with Alec Minassian, November 2nd, 2018 with Scott Birrell, August 4th, 2009 with George Sadini, and May 23rd, 2014, his day of retribution when Elliot Rogers killed 7 people.
Math team, what does that make the poet's final score? We have a 25.8 for the poet. All right, poets, stick around. Math team's gonna come around and tell y'all who is in the second round. Everyone else, you have 10 minutes. This poem's called Keep Spokane Kinda Gross, or How Far Inland Do I Have to Go to Get Away from the Northwest? I went to that brand new coffee shop downtown today. It doesn't matter which one. It is identical to the other 2 brand new coffee shops downtown. When did things that weren't chains become so carefully linked? No one wants to go to what is left of Seattle anymore. No one who would need to get a bus ticket to go there. The artisan toast places outweigh the soup kitchens near my apartment. Some new development. I was fired from the pretend Whole Foods that no one in the neighborhood can afford. I'm not ashamed of that anymore. Weren't we white enough without the sparkling counters? I thought the rich were eccentric. Or maybe every city has to look like their foyer. But what about the attic? But what about the cost? Maybe I shouldn't grow out my hair, or buy new jeans, or cover up my tattoos, or the exhaustion under my eyes. Someone has to look like this, like they grew up here. I'm getting a taste for gas station coffee. At least it doesn't taste so clean. Honest. Gross. Like what we used to be. Like what we used to be. Just a poet to help you guys warm up since the second round is really small. So please welcome up all the way to the stage our wonderful alternate for the evening, Michael Zanoni!
It's a losing battle. Women are always right. Yep, I'm the alternate. Didn't make it. Sad, but this is my poem. It's called Sweet Temptation.
We love you, Michael.
Love you too. The moment I see you rise, you bring tears to my stocking eyes. You're fried golden brown and oh so doughy. You make me warm when it's cold and snowy. I just can't contain all my feelings for you when I think of all the various fillings in you. Icing, or powdered, or glazing. How can I choose? They're all so amazing. I do not know what I'd do without you. If you were gone, there would just be a hole in the center of my life. 'Cause you set the maple bar high for other desserts. And maybe I'm a little old-fashioned. Maybe I'm supporting a very selfish passion. But my love for this holy dessert is stronger than Tiger Woods wearing a polo t-shirt. And I'm sorry if it seems like I have a glazed expression, but when I saw your glistening curves, you cured my depression. Okay, I'm sorry. And oh, your smell, how it fills me with bakery scents. Deprived of it for too long, and I'll be in torment. When I see other people eating you, I think to myself, oh my God, I gotta get one too. As soon as I saw your donut holes, I found my missing piece, and you caused my chances for diabetes to increase. You never seem to sit well in my gut, but I will forever love you, my glorious donut.
have always been good at wall sits. Since in the 6th grade, I would do them religiously, pressing my back against the hard wall every day before the field trip, hoping to see the slightest sign of a gap between my thighs, which were still layered in baby fat, the innocence in the form of excess skin. I have pointless Pinterest workouts burned into my brain, cold leftovers from the days where a bored flat stomach was a supposed key to satisfaction, the days where naivety left and insecurities began, the days where I started to look at my friends, who were also like 11, and think, why can't I look like her? I wanted change, and I didn't understand why. The sick need for change messed with my mind. I believed with the faith of a saint that once I managed to get the face and the body and the soul that I desired, that I would be free, and it would all be over, that self-doubt would melt away and confidence would fill me like a river. I was wrong, because look at me now. I have the things I thought would be my everything. There's a gap between my mind and a gap in my thighs, consumed by what I am consuming, afraid to eat too much in fear of what I'll lose, afraid to eat too little in fear of what I'll gain, still afraid of looking in the mirrors and disliking what I see, basing my worth off of flaws that only I think that I have, despite my very will to do the opposite. From time to time, I wonder how I got this way and where I went wrong. The answer is nowhere, because at this point, self-hate is a skill you learn when growing up in a society where flaws are beautiful, but perfection is preferred. It's all scars till you're beautiful, until the scars don't go away, because our differences make us unique, but they might not make us pretty. They just tell us who we are, and more importantly, what we are not, and leading us towards our change. And the problem is we never recognize our own change. We stare into the mirror and only see the before photo, even if we are far, far past the point of what a healthy after photo should have been, could have been. We still find everything wrong. Perfection is a disease that pulls the skin off your bones and eats half your plate, makes a mirror your best friend and the reflection your worst enemy, a disease that makes girls stop eating, a disease that makes boys stay in the gym, a disease that sells diet pills and waist trainers, a disease that makes 6th grade girls do wall sits, a disease that can ruin you.
Math team, what does that make the poet's final score? A 27.0 for the poet. On deck is Maddie Onito, but please welcome up all the way to the mic right now, Amy Barber!
So this one's called Sybil to Millie. You had no scars, just one wrong indent. You were perfect. But you hurt me when you turned out to be a red herring, because you were supposed to be my one true pairing. Sybil, you may not have been a mister, and you belong to my sister, but you were a great first car. A 1998 Honda Civic, you really set the bar. An aux cord, a removable stereo, and the ability to go. In Spokane, your kind is the most stolen, but you stole my heart and then broke it simultaneously. Your origin story is one of legend, but such a cliche. If you were a person, you'd be the teenage rebel. You died on my way to school. Next was Elroy, a 2004 Pontiac Grand Am. I'll give you a hand. You got me out of some sticky situations. Whether it was getting stuck in the mud or the dent in the hood, I used you for 2 whole years until that pole split into 2 parts. I went through you, literally through you, to get away from you. And well, you may have been newer than Sybil, but your paint wasn't brittle, but you never seemed to rise to my expectations. There were never enough associations between you and my heart. You were, in my eyes, an old person car. The worst hunk of junk by far. You were the outcast. You died on my way to work. And finally, I met Millie. Oh, Millie, so many new experiences. I don't care what anyone else says. You are my favorite. We haven't made many memories, but more still to come. Your steering, impeccable. Your bass, inevitable. Your light gray aura contrasts exponentially with your dark black inner self. And you smell like champagne toast. And I'm happy to boast when anyone asks for your name because no one else's will ever be the same. My Millie. Millie the Mercury Milan. You have 3 years on Elroy and many frontal features. You haven't housed any creatures, and you brought me back to an ox cord. You make me feel like I'm a catch, and you would be the cliche aristocrat. You haven't died, so I hope you never will.
Math team, what does that make the poet's final score? 25.5 for the poet. On deck is Marky Vanderhoof, but please welcome up all the way to the mic, Maddie Onito!
You are a fire maker with a little box of matches in your breast pocket, feeling every beat of your never empty heart ever full to the brim with twigs which bring light and terrible destruction. You burn with instruction, to burn with seduction, and my deduction is that you are scared to feel nothing. You are a fire maker that was made to burn everything in their path, made so everyone could feel their love and their wrath. Your passion burns hot like a fireplace in December. Ignoring the weather, existing for pleasure, you bring warmth into my life with a light brighter than the sun, of which the lights I've never seen before. But your flames may grow angry, with no given warning, no evacuation plan, and soon I am trapped in a burning house with no way out and no way in to tell you that I'm sorry. I can only sit in the searing fury I have made by mistake, wondering how long I'll sit as you take and you take, break my bones, scorch my lungs with hot black smoke until I'm choking, gagging, unable to breathe in your presence anymore. Just wanting the heat to die, wanting my suffering by your hands to end. You are a fire maker, carefully made and carefully broken, best approached with caution, because the beast that sleeps inside of you, once awoken, brings a force of devastation that spares nothing and forgets no wrongdoings. I can only pray I survive this path I've chosen, because I can no longer live without your warmth. Your burning, scorching, painful love, your brief lit candles at midnight, your blistering wildfires when blazing dawn breaks. I can no longer live without your perfect agony, your intimidating affection, and your loving rage. So I will feed your flames with pieces of my soul in the hopes that you will spare me more pain, dear fire maker.
Math team, what does that make the poet's final score? A 26.2 for the poet. On deck is Kiara Hively, but please welcome up all the way to the mic right now, Marky Vanderhoof!
My phone is a ducking beach. Frickin' autocorrect. I meant to say L-I-F-E. Wait, what the actual truck? You're really doing this to me again? Son of a witch. Curse you and your wickedness. Autocorrect is the bane of my existence. I craft cleverly worded sentences to encompass the utmost amount of sarcasm, to express to the moron that I have the most unfortunate displeasure of conversing with, that I am the done with their behavior reminiscent of the sludge found in the bottom of a dumpster. Yet my sentences rarely appear precisely the way I typed them. The scathing language expressive of passion, anger, excitement, misery, and a dozen other emotions that warrant a nice big F word march its way across my screen following the commands of my fingers, only to be subject to the harsh judgments of autocorrect. I envision the software function as possessed by a spiteful spirit sent from the 17th century to torture me, asphyxiating the dragons of profanity lurking in my texts with thorny tendrils of phantasmal vines that prick and inflict pain upon not my enemy, but me, as they refuse to comprehend the evocation meant for the subject of my strife is elicited from my own heart instead, as they refuse to comprehend why they're errant. The spirit might be doing me a favor, though. After all, I doubt the moron I'm texting would appreciate my wordsmithing anyway. Autocorrect, oh autocorrect, wherefore art thou, autocorrect? A nuisance by any other name would feel just as irritating. Despite the fact I despise its existence, I must thank my ghostly foe for its assistance in spelling things that escape my notice. When my brain goes blank or my thumbs mess up, autocorrect saves me from a mortifying screw-up. Unfortunately, it agitates grammar Nazis like me. When there becomes there or there, when your becomes your, when where becomes where, changing it is such a chore that nobody even bothers anymore. Autocorrect, preventing and orchestrating digital mishaps one click at a time. We, the generation of smartphones, battle this mischievous phantom menace that haunts our everyday lives. Autocorrect is our injury as much as our crutch. Miscommunication causing frustration, entrenched or escaping from its spidery clutch. Isn't it a surprise when we finally realize what an impact autocorrect has on how we're recognized? Autocorrect allows society to label us uneducated, ignorant, afflicted with idiocy. But this generation is the autocorrect of this nation, rectifying the errors of our ancestors and preventing the total damnation of a race so frozen in place that any mistake condemns us all. As bigots, racist, sexist, all of those ists and more, it's like we've missed the whole point of our subsistence. Instead of throwing away our existence for technology so consistently, worrying about the effects of autocorrect on our personal lives so insistently, that we completely miss the big picture. That our only real problems are people that don't like pine cones on their pizza. Oh, frick, it happened again. I meant pineapple. Stupid witchy spirit.
Math team, what does that make our poet's final score? We have a time penalty. Forget linear time. Now what does that make that poet's final score? We have a 25.0 for the poet. On deck is Peyton Green, but please welcome up all the way to the mic right now, Kiara Hively.
This is a love poem, so here it goes. A girl in a dark purple sweater with black sleeves and a dark skinny jeans is held in a hug. So warm and loving, I hope it never ends. Comforting hands rub her arms with only pure intent and 2 sets of eyes closed in happiness, and when they open again, it's 3 years later instead of a couple weeks in. Kind and gorgeous green eyes glance over at the girl in the dark purple sweater with black sleeves. As they walk, a gleam in those green eyes. Stop, he says, and gets down on one knee. Black sleeves on a purple sweater find their way to the mouth of the girl. Yes, she says, and eyes close with happy tears. 8 years later, a dark purple sweater holds hands and looks into kind and gorgeous green eyes. Smile lines just barely becoming visible as they walk into the building to meet their first child. Not by blood, but blood doesn't make family. It never has. They squeeze hands and walk in, ready, for sure. Green and blue eyes blink, and it's 9 years later. Senior prom, and the woman in the dark purple sweater with a small hole in the shoulder now takes pictures and realizes that their baby is all grown up. And as the child drives away, she starts to cry, but then is wrapped in an embrace. "It's okay," he says. And she looks up into sparkling green eyes, smile lines and wrinkle lines, but still as kind and gorgeous as always. More years pass, and tears have been shed on the purple sweater, and many stains removed and holes sewn up. The dreaded day comes. A dark purple sweater with black sleeves lies in a hospital bed, frail and deathly winter's pale, looking into green eyes that she's known for so long. A soft sweatered hand reaches up, and she says, "I'll always love you." Months later, and after making a full recovery, the sweater finds itself on a shelf in a thrift store. A woman walks in, looks it over, and takes it home. And that evening, a dark purple sweater with black sleeves is held in a hug so loving, she hopes it never ends, and the cycle repeats.
Math team, what does that make the poet's final score? 24.9 for the poet. 24.4 for the poet. Okay, sorry. I know, they were like, oh, even more of a letdown, boo. On deck is the last poet of round 2, Rin Cole Ebert, but coming up all the way to the mic right now, let's welcome up Peyton Green!
I am a small port city, quiet, serene. I am known for redwoods and red herrings. I smell of salt water and gasoline. The sound of idling engines rushes through me as I sit, idle, waiting. Waiting for the city to become an underwater ruin, waiting for my fish to turn upside down and for my forest to wilt, waiting for this to catch up to me, waiting until I can no longer ignore the weather reports, ignore the long winters, ignore the consequences of my actions. For I am the smog, toxic and all-consuming. I glow blue, fluorescent, and uncontrollably while I choke the innocent and ignore the greedy. For I am a scorching heat, melting all I touch, causing icebergs to crack and crumble as if they are small and frail. These icebergs that held my climate steady, torn apart, for I cannot stand to live life without the highs and the lows. My sea levels will rise and I will begin to drown as I leave titanic disaster in my path. For I am a forest fire. I destroy families and lives and myself. I am beautiful, oh, so nice to look at, to try and catch, but I am fleeting and dangerous and empty. My need to consume is insatiable, and yet I don't care, for I am a creature of habit, and I have grown comfortable with pain. For I am a can of hairspray, my vanity will destroy the ozone, and yet it is too late to stop. My can is empty and the damage is done. I will try to fix this, and yet it will just make it worse, for I am an emptiness that will not stop growing, and no matter what I do, I cannot fill it. For I am the acid rain, subtle and yet so harmful, so easy to ignore until it's too late. Thank you.
Math team, what does that make that poet's final score? 26.9 for the poet. Y'all, on deck is prizes. But coming up to the mic, all the way to the mic right now, your last poet of the slam. Give it up for Rin Cole Ebert!
I look to God for inspiration on what I want to be. And I'm not saying that in absolute devotion to divinity. No. I mean it in the sickest sense. Mark 3:13, no. Mark 3:16, no, wait. Mark 3:29. I am guilty of an eternal sin as devoid in me as in the forgotten scribes in only the holiest of times, and I cannot now recite how no amount of practiced repentance or Hail Mary's glory be or Apostles' Creed will ever save my desolate soul. Blasphemous profanity, I shall continue on to say I will be one of the 7 horsemen. I will ask what could have happened if Mary's son hadn't been a little lamb, fleeced too pure to think ahead to the future damage. 7 eyes could not see far enough into that future. 7 horns were not strong enough to hold the imposing weight of the world down long enough to pray it all away. Maybe 7 days could have been the difference. I'm not asking for a change in the plot line or demanding more time. I'm not poking the lion forever confined to its cage. I'm not justifying my questions, actions, or beliefs. I'm simply living out the rest of my days in these unfamiliar feelings. The 7 sins are not on that page. My sanity is not on my to-do list. Neither is forcing myself to come across as something I'm not, but here we are. And I'm stuck rereading the contradictions. Colossians 2:23. I've read it, and I'm still trying to be important.
Can we continue that round of applause for this amazing group of judges? And also for like every single poem that read tonight? Y'all, if I were like that good when I was your age, I would not have a day job. Like, wow. Okay. So there are gonna be prizes, and the math team needs to do math. So during that time, I'm going to tell you very slowly what the prizes are. 3rd place will get $50. Clap slower. 2nd place will get $100. Slow clap. I like that you're still doing like asynchronous claps, like still making it sound like just applause slow, like in slow-mo. That was very good. Yeah, we're on the same creative playing field. Cool. 1st place will get nothing. $150. Yeah. So exciting. How's it going, math team? Oh, yeah. Oh, hey, sorry. Final score for Raina. Final score for the last poet was a 26.7. Was a 26.7. Oops. 26.2? 26. Man, messed up. Fired. It's okay. I was about to be like, that's fine, this job doesn't pay anyway, but it actually did pay, so it would really suck if I got fired, like right now at the end. Is Bill one of the friends of the Deer Park Library? Bill, the president of the Friends of Deer Park Library, is here and is going to come up on stage with me to help me present prizes. Come on up, Bill. Bill is making his way. Please clap all the way until Bill is standing up next to me. Continue clapping. Keep clapping. All the way to the mic. Do not stop clapping. Keep going. All right. Amber is coming up to deliver me some information. It's very important.
Bill, here's your money. Give it away.
Right on.
Y'all, we have the results. Poets, if you place and I call your name, please walk up to the stage, come get your prize. And stay there. Because there will be pictures. This is the age of Instagram. You all do this all the time. In 3rd place, we have Raina Ashley! winning 50 beautiful American dollars. Yep, you stay up there. Right there. I'm sorry, oh my God. I forget I can be scary because I have tattoos on the side of my head, and I forget they're there, and then other people are like, hmm. Anyway, in second place, we have Maddie Onito! All the way to the mic. She's coming all the way, they're coming all the way up. Running here, doing the best. Winning 100 beautiful American dollars. All right, y'all, now for the big prize. In first place, winning 150 American dollars, let's give it up for Peyton Green! All the way! Woo! Here comes Mr. Poetry Slam. Thank you all so much. This was really fun for me. Don't forget, all 7 poets that competed in the second round are going to be competing at the Valley versus Northern Slam on April 10th at Gonzaga University. I hope every single one of you will be there. Can we give a round of applause to the math team again? Can we continue that round of applause for the Riverside Poetry Club? Thank you so much, everyone. My name is Fitz. I was your host. This has been a Poetry Slam. Good night.